Alrighty, so let's get her rolling. Hello everyone, I'm Rob Smith, that's Smith in the Black, and if it's Monday, it's the Strat Power Hour, and this is where we get it all done. I always have new people rolling in and say, just soak it in for a while, and then bring your questions here. This is when we put it all together for you, make sure you get it, make sure you have a good plan on how to trade the Strat. Hello everyone, I'm Rob Smith, that's Smith in the Black, and if it's Monday, it's the Strat Power Hour, and this is where we get it all done. I always have new people rolling in, and you don't want to be jumping around. Just soak it in for a while, and then bring your questions here. I just made the nightly video. There's a lot of good stuff for you, but I'm probably going to get it. Rehash it here. Make sure you have a good plan on how to trade the Strat. There's a lot of good lessons in the morning on today. So I'm talking about a lot of things, trying to figure out what's going on. Right, almost everything was two down. You don't want to be jumping around, almost every day like today. We almost had a 3 month. I just made the nightly video. There's a lot of simultaneous break to the downside, and unless that 60 changes, but let's take a look because there's a lot of good lessons about that. I talked about that in when we gapped down. I would go watch and then started to tank. Right, almost everything was 2 down on the day. We went outside the month on the SPY, and we knew almost had a 3 hours and 3 cannot be. That's a simultaneous break to the downside, and unless that 60 changes, we were going down, right? And so we knew about that. I talked about that in the Strat Time report. Here we go. Okay, that's a broadening formation, right? So once if they bought up and sold down, they might do it again, right? That's exhaustion risk. So if you did nothing all day until the last half an hour, you caught the biggest move of the day in a half an hour. Boom, right there. And that was a simultaneous break to the upside on the 60s and the 30s and the 15s. Almost everything was 2-2 reversal to the upside, right? And so at that point, if you did nothing all day, boom, you got the big move. I went after SVXY. That was nice here. Boom, right? Stuff like that. So almost everything was doing that. So it's important to understand that we're looking for high probability, and simultaneous breaks are the high probability, right? So know that. Also know that the 60 is a major signal, and that the higher the VIX is, the higher the volatility, the more important that becomes, right? In a low VIX environment, it's still a major signal, but because when you see a move like this today, and if you look on the daily, that's as big as normal weeks, right? So the 60 is going to be like your daily, right? Because that's going to have as big of a move as a normal day, if not more, right? So that's something you want to know about. So if you got questions, type them in. I go to email first. If you can't make it, you can email your questions in, and I will get to them, and that way it's recorded for everybody and for you, and everything we do here is recorded, so you got that. So let's see here. Question. Seems like Stratters are really getting into weekly options for trades. Everybody's doing everything different, but yep. On a very liquid weekly options near at the money, could I use the actual Strat on option charts? Yes. Let's say the 5 and 15 charts. Should we pay more attention to the actual stock on multiple time frames? You can look at both of them. It's going to work on either one. And, oftentimes, depending on how good you are, I would stay in 30 60s, not 5 15s, but that's up to your skill level when it comes to the Strat. And that's why I start people off with 30s and 60s. There's more than enough to do on that, as you can see. Another thing that I talked about early on when new people were coming in today, patience, right? Patience. If you're really patient, waited all day for this, that's all you needed. The last half an hour is all you needed. Just boom, straight up, right? And so combine both stock and option charts for entry, exits for magnitude. Yeah, you can definitely do that. You definitely combine them both and use your Greeks and see like, all right, I got my gamma spike and I'm into magnitude on the options. I'm just going to take them off, or I'm going to take a portion of them off, depending on what the other signals are. Right? Because you always want to know where everything is in the grander scheme of things, right? Because this is simultaneous breaky as it was, is exhaustion risk. Now you've gone 3, now we don't know. Once it's ripping through there, we're thinking 3, which we got after the 2 reversal weekly gave you the high right there. And unless you had a reversal against you, you're taking that thing out, which you got, right? And that's a nice move. So, see, next question from one more, I think, from email. And okay, out to vote tonight in Canada. Okay, there are a lot of setups between the monthly, weekly, daily 60s, and it's overwhelming, in fact. Today I made a few small trades, but the most part sat on my hands, watching too many tickers. I tune in and out of the trading room, and sometimes it's on, but I'm not tuned in. Most days, in fact. Nevertheless, I want to ramp my trading up significantly. Is it fair to say that there's so much opportunity in the gappers and trading 2-2s and 2-1-2s back in a full time frame company not to bother with all the other noise? Yes. Come in with a blank slate every M and go to work? I'm good with that. I'm making charts up with tries and monthly, weekly, high lows and entry points and magnitudes, and then sit on my hands. Time to get serious. Yeah, so that's why you'll hear me say be patient. Let me figure out what they're doing. Because simultaneous breaks can be like something today, which was awesome when you get everything going, right? Or they can be sector specific and or time specific. So on the downside, it was the longer time frames, everybody, right, to the downside, and then the shorter term 2260, everybody back to the upside, right? So that's why that's important, right? They're going after everything, right? They don't care what it is, right? So that's a really important concept, understanding the simultaneous break, and why I pound it home so often. All right, let's get to here, and welcome if you're new. Okay, first question, MU 230. I tried to take the 2 reversal back down. Okay, so MU stuck in here for one. Here's one problem. See this? There's 4 weeks stuck in here. That's a problem. All right, which means it's still inside month. That's a problem too. Right? So you can see this chop in here. Right? So, and what time frame were you looking at? Oh, hourly. Okay. So here's your 60. And so it goes inside and down. Hammer tried to take that up, didn't go. Just get out. Right? And then here at the end of the day, this took out the low by 2 cents. That's a 2 down, but then closed here. Closer, much closer to the 2-2 reversal, what you got right here. So if you got stopped out here, you could have gone in here. Make sense? And another important concept that I pound home too is going back to this email here is that you don't have to be the master of everything, right? Stay in your setups. Say like, this is all I do, right? 30 and 60 reversals back in the full time frame company. This is all I do. 2-2 weakers, right? And then look for the shorter term. This is all I do, right? You'll be fine if you do that. It's the people that get into trouble trying to be the master of everything right out the chute. 3-1-2s or what it is. But the MU making sense here? Not our drug of choice. Inside monther. And you got this 3 weeker you needed to get out of too. And do I have any advice for end of day traders? Well, it depends on how end of the day you mean. Last half an hour, last 5 minutes, last hour. Oftentimes by then, you're just looking for what I showed you. Do we have anything that's going to show some reversal or anything to the end of the day to do anything? Right? Sometimes you just do nothing because you're an exhaustion risk and I can chop you up. Okay, so MU. Tried to take it here. Well, the good thing was it was tight stop and just boom, gone. The 2-2-2 if it was going to go puking into the lows, all right? Just get out. And so for end of the day, just like I just showed you, do you have any simultaneous breaks set up for the end of the day? What does it look like? And that's why you'll hear me say, what's the next 2? What will that create, negate, or do? So technically, SPY 60, that's a 2 down, but you're closer to being a 2 up on the flip. That's something I'd want to know about. And that's why we go through things on the flip. We want to know that. How close are we taking things out? Sometimes you'll hear me say, how are we going to take this out? You know, and good time to go to lunch when you got a big bar and then you're right in the middle of it. If that makes sense. Still profitable on the day. That's all we ask. Whilst ye learning. And don't be wallflowers. If you're going to take a trade and you want to know whether the setup's there or not, run it by me if you have the time. That's a good thing about 30/60s. You got plenty of time to run it by me. Cannot look at the 60-minute charts, but what do you mean by end of the day then? And where do you think the most likely place that will occur tomorrow morning? How can we prepare for that prior to the market open? Well, I make the nightly video, which is already out. And what I was saying in there mostly was we're looking for things tomorrow that are either taking out today's highs or today's lows, right? So I have a bunch of examples of things that close near the lows, Hammer and SMH, inside days, and some of the healthcares. And the reason we want to do that is that, let's say you came in short today, right? Yay, good for you, right? Now you don't have to cover, right? But let's say that you have a stock or SPY that takes out today's highs tomorrow. That's something I'd want to know about, because those shorts are screwed. They got what they wanted. The market tanked, right? But then you take this out, that's a 2-2 reversal, and that's going to change that weekly back green, right? Conversely, if you take out the lows, right, you also got what you wanted if you were long. You got this rally back, right? But if you take out today's lows tomorrow, you're screwed. Boom, right? So we want to trade against people in losing positions, right? And so, like I said, with the heightened volatility, we want to see where we open, and we want to see what these 60s look like. Because we know that we're mostly two downs on weeklies, but we had a big rally back. Was that just short covering? What do we look like when we come in the morning? You mean ex-friend of yours came by? Yeah, that's okay. Always another boss. So if you missed that move, but it was nice. So also our 60 inside bar continuations a little more reliable to take than inside 30 continuations, not necessarily. But you want to look for combinations of 30s and 60s, right? So on the 30, it was an outside bar. So once that thing went green here, right, on the flip, or right here, and started going, now you got a 3-2. 3-2 30 and a 2-2 60. And so you'll hear me say this a lot too. That if you're looking at the gappers or whatever it is, whatever your universe is, 20 minutes after the hour and 10 minutes before the hour, start rifling through the 30s and 60s, right? Just like I am and everything. And that will show you if the 30 goes 2, what will that do to the 60, right? Do I have a combination? Because we're using participants against each other. They work for us. We trigger the initial guys and then send the other guys into the alley to see if there's anybody in there, to see if we can walk through or not. And Marcelo, I'm still trying to figure out if you're executing at the end of the day, or what are you doing, if you could fill me in on that. Yeah, market was red all day, but then position scoring time. That's a half an hour. If you're short and you started to see these things start to run, you're going to cover, right? Yep, we know that. Cover and triangle the out. These two will become an outside bar of that. Not strong enough for these guys just yet, but we'll see in the morning. Because we could gap above this and then come puking back down triangle style too. And so that would be key. If we gapped up into here and start puking again and take out today's opening with the weekly and the weekly still red, then you still have full time frame continuity come back through this and try them all the way back down. And On today's stream, when you did a stock scan, you verbally noted number of stocks that were nobodies. Who are these guys, right? What are some parameters we can use to filter down the companies do you think more premium for us to trade? Good question. So one of the things in other videos that I've done with the scans, just like I'm talking about simultaneous breaks, not only do I want to see how many twos are going in each direction, I want to see if there's a concentration of sector. So let's say I'm looking at inside and down on the week, and I see X on EOG, PXD, that tells me there's a simultaneous break going on in energy, right? So there's that aspect of scanning as well. I want them to have correlations with other things, right? I want them to be in sectors. I want them to be in the Dow. I want them to be in the Qs, right? What's one of the reasons we like to trade equities is because there's so much more evidence of what's going on, right? Like Brooks today got caught up with the market a little bit here, but you had natural buyers in there. You had to, right? You had a 2-2 reversal on the month, Momo Hammer week, right? You had natural buyers in there. The market's tanking and this thing's going straight up. You got a buyer in there. So it appears that he was very aggressive right out the chute, and then because of the market, just kind of let it sit there and said, "All right, I bought mine." So the question is, do they come back tomorrow? That's why the Strat attack is on Tuesday. We see what they do on Monday. The question is, on Tuesday, do they follow through or do they reverse? Right? And if they follow through, that's something I want to know about, because that means the buyers or sellers showed up on Monday and they came back on Tuesday. If they reverse, now I've got a screwed group. The Monday group is now screwed, right? So I want to know about either of those situations. That makes sense? And Jeff, if you miss the actionable signal, is it okay to jump in late if it's closer to the in versus the out levels? Well, you're still going to have a shorter term signal, right? And you can watch the weeklies. It depends on which time frame you're watching. So let's say that it's a 60-minute break. You can go down to the 5s, 15s, and see if you get another signal. But you're going to want another signal of some sort. But yes, you can, because that's called in force. So once that actionable signal is in force, then you can break it down. And that's why we like the monthly breaks, because then you have the weeklies and the dailies and the 60s all to break it down to another entry. And if you get the daily break, then you got the 60s, 30s, 15s, 5s all day long. So as long as something's in force and it hasn't hit magnitude, yes, indeed. And Brock, that makes sense. My watch list tailors to stocks with tight option spreads, so I like to check your nightly vid and then pick out the ones with tight spreads, although I have my own universe scan. Yes. And also, like I said, with MU, watching what the semiconductors are doing, the Qs, right? Watching all those relationships. Okay, good. And to Cat, if I enter on the X minute time frame, 5, 15, 30, whatever it is, you say, unless there's a reversal against you to exit, does that mean reversal in the same time frame or another longer time frame? Today, many 5-minute inside bars reversals before 10:30. That reversal in the 5. Yeah. So if you still have the longer term stuff in force, right? Daily, weekly, monthly 60, you can let those 5s and 15s bounce around, because we know they're going to triangle them out until you hit that magnitude, whatever that is. Then you can tighten it up. And also some people are tighter scalpers and they just keep it tight and say, if I have any reversal, 15 or a 5 or whatever, and they just get out, right? They just want those straight cruisers. But as long as like the magnitude on the shorter term isn't going to put you into a loss, it's going to happen. They're going to triangle you out. We know that. But so you gauge the magnitude on the shorter term time frame and say, well, even if this goes reversal against me, the magnitude's nowhere near where I got in. And that also alerts you that you can be looking for an ad. Triangle they out, now we can buy more. And Strat shows, if you watch the 60s during the day, you can work the daily and the weekly signals. Yep. Would you ever hold something overnight if it wasn't green on both the daily and the weekly? Depends on what the monthly, depends on where it is in the tri-series. As long as I'm profitable. But I better be profitable. So let's say that it's red, but it's a hammer, it comes down to more of not being red or green, of where's it closer to being the next two. So it could still be red, but still be closer to being a two up. That's what I'm saying. The weekly signals are good all week. And that's why we like those weekly signals to trigger on a Monday and then follow through on a Tuesday. And sorry for such a basic question. What's triangle the out mean? Triangle the out means they're going to stop you out, right? We know that everything trades in a series of broadening formations because outside bars exist, because there's threes, right? So that's why it goes back and stops them out. Back in here, if you get the fiver that we were watching at the end of the day. Oh yeah, triangle the out, triangle the out. Because we know people use tight stops, and then as the participation group gets bigger, right? Then so the broadening formation grows. Here's it. Triangle the out. These guys are gone. Stop out anybody who's short in here. Triangle the out. Stop out anybody who got long in here. Couldn't make it. Triangle the out. Everybody who's bottom picking now just got taken out, and then boom, 2-2 fiver. And if that works, it sets up this. Your outside 15er, right? Coming into the flip, which creates the outside 30. And if that works, what's the next two? 2-2-60. There's your launch pad. And that's how it makes sure nobody's in for it. You know who was in for this? Nobody. Except people that know what we know. Because of this right here. Everybody's gone, dude. Nobody was holding into lows, right? Nobody. Not today. Basically, triangle the out is is a reversal or it's exhaustion risk. Where if it goes back through like Comvault, this was in the video two weeks ago in the weekend vid, and it was in the vid tonight. Saw this baby here 2 weeks ago, and it's like, if this thing takes that out, that's something I want to know about. This is dead obvious. Boom. And then today on a Monday, gaps right down to magnitude and starts coming back, and it's closer to 2-2 reversal daily. If they've sold up, if they bought up and sold down, they might do it again. And if this is going to be green on the week, this is where it's going to do it. So this is what messes with people. Always being caught up on all the continuity, saying, but Rob, it's a bright red month. And I'm like, yeah, that's true, but it's a 3. And now it did its job. And once a 3, always a 3 can't not be, which means the 60 daily and weekly can override it. Say, all right, it did its job, stopped everybody out. Right there, everybody's gone for the last 3 months. They're gone. And now, boom. Ugh. Good. And are your nightly vids usually with stocks that are not inside weeks or months? Or should I look through them to double check? You can do that. I'll usually tell you, though. I usually say it's still inside month, but doesn't mean you can't trade it. The longer the time frame, the more you can trade a one, right? Now, the deeper into the week you get, the less likely it's going to not be an inside week, so you wouldn't want to touch it. But on a monthly basis, you might have a huge range. And as I said earlier, a lot of the things we're looking for are simultaneous breaks, right? Or who's screwed. So right out the chute, we don't know because we don't know what this is. Was this? I mean, if this kicker's down into here in the 60, you can puke, right? So we want to know how many go either take out the highs or lows of today, right? And then we want to see where the highest concentration by sector is, and that's what I'm going to be doing in the morning. But now with heightened volatility, a rally back to the middle, don't know. So that's why we gain more evidence. Tomorrow we uncouple. For newer people in time frame continuity, that's important. On the second hour on a Tuesday is the first time of the week where we have a separate 60 daily, weekly, and monthly opening. And because that we are monitoring participation groups by price and time, that we finally have 4 different groups that we can monitor. Doesn't mean we don't trade on Mondays, but we're a little more cautious on a Monday because we gain more information. And didn't trust the reversal. Yeah, well, the thing is too, Jeff, is that if the good thing is here, hopefully you had made money on the downside on a bunch of stuff, and by the time you take this, you're playing with house money, right? I'll take that with house money for sure. Right? I can't lose. It's like I'm not gonna risk very much, or and then I kind of gunned up. I don't think you had much chance after it went. Didn't triangle the out. It just went 2. So here's the good thing: if you got the fiver, and then you just walked it up the lows of the fiver, boom, 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 no lower low, just kept going. And that's okay if you didn't take it. Some people won't trade anything without full time frame continuity, and that's up to you. Like I said, just pick something that you do and just keep doing it, right? And say I wouldn't touch that thing for a 10-foot pull. I don't care if it goes rallying all back to the highs. That's not my trade, man. That's not what I do. Because some people are total ninjas, and also don't get discouraged if it takes a while. Some people it takes a little bit longer to get this. It's easier with volatility, like you're seeing, but you'll get it. We'll get you there. That's why we're here every Monday. And other people are just ninjas. They just boom, light bulb goes off and they get it. So never get discouraged if that's not you. And if you don't know where the nightly vids are, they're on my YouTube. Smith's in the Black right now until we get it on Sepia. Eventually everything will be here. But for right now, free to all. And they're rarely today. I think today was almost 4 minutes, and that's like long for me because we can communicate very quickly because we all think the same way. Once you get it. So I was laughing with Sarah, who's gonna probably pass me in followers on Twitter. It's like Rob makes a 3-minute video on the on the market, 300 views. Sarah makes an hour-long video about what Rob just said in 3 minutes. It's 11,000 views. Okay, thank you, sir. Okay. So if I'm trading 60s, is it trading a continuation to daily fine as long as I'm playing reversals on the 60s? Oh yeah, sure. Yep. It's just reconfirming that. And you just want to be aware of that because a 2-2 directional is potentially the try. So you want to know where you are in the triangle series, in the broadening formation series. Am I racing back through one? Am I going into new highs? Where am I in all this mess? Because you want to be coming back through previous range. Because the pivot machine gun, I mean, this end of the day ripper, just stopped out so many shorts. Let's say you were moving your short down all day, or you stayed short your stop where you were. You want to come back through a previous range because we know there's going to be stops in there. And in this case, you didn't have full time frame continuity, but when you do, what that does is it adds fuel to the fire, right? Because not only, let's say we're green on all time frames, except just not here. I mean here. Let's say these are all green, and you're coming back to a previous range. What that tells me is we got buyers on all time frames, and we're turning stops into buyers, removing liquidity. I think maybe something like FSLR on the downside today. Well, it didn't have it on the month, but 2-2 reversal week puker. Boom. Looks like to me the push up at the end of the day is people covering shorts as tomorrow being Tuesday, knowing what direction the market would be going as the week advances. Yeah, could be. We'll let them tell us. We'll see how they show up in the morning. How's everybody sleeping tonight? How's y'all sleeping? What you thinking? Deer in the headlights, that's okay. And that's why you hear me early in the morning. I'm like, no hurry, patience, no hurry. We'll figure it out. No hurry, no hurry. Right? Especially on a Monday morning, that's a big problem a lot of people have. Is that they do all this research over the weekend, they come in with all their notes and they're all gung-ho and then just get blown away in the opening. No hurry. Patience. Let them set up. FOMO. Let them triangle they out. They always do. I think that was a nice SPY 30 here. Even if you did nothing until here. Right here. Even if you did nothing until that. So I ain't touching this stuff. And then two triangle day out. Bam. Right there. It was a nice half an hour. You could have rode that down a couple prints. All right. Because if you don't get a reversal against you, don't touch it. I'm like, nope. And it's a Monday morning. We're still trying to figure out what's going on. Known about the Strat for like a year now. Got discouraged a few times. Now I'm understanding it's a lot better. I wish I was just stuck with it and kept doing it over and over. And well, that's, it is what it is. And that's why you're here. Today was a good learning day too. A lot going on. And I can't fix what I don't know is broken. I can fix anything, I just got to know what the problem is. I've been doing this a long time. And there's usually a pattern to what somebody's doing wrong that I know about. Because other people have done it. Did some scans, no sectors moving now. The weight is on. Let them sleep on this one. How much homework is realistic then? Some people just come in and say, Rob, let them open, tell me what to do. I would watch the vids. I'd do that. But for the most part, I'm doing all the work. I'm doing all the research. Then I'm telling you what's working. That's why a lot of people just walk in here and go, let them open, let Rob tell you. They're doing that. They're going there. They're doing that. These are setting up. And then have your 4 things up and take a look. And then if confused, check with me. Right? Took it, just didn't hold long enough. That's okay. That's another problem. The problem why that happens is that people get so used to getting stopped out that when they really get a hold of one, they're used to it like coming back on them, so they just get out. But we know when we really get a hold of one to hold on and look to add. There you go. Yeah, watch the vids. Make sure you watch the weekend vid. The nightly vid, like I said, is rarely over 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And rewatch the Strat Time show maybe. That's 15 minutes. That always helps because then you can go through and see what happened for the rest of the day. Because at the time, we had no reversals. When I talked about it, we had no reversals. It was getting cremated. And I was like, if you don't have a reversal on the 60, ain't no way this thing's going up. I believe I said something to that effect. Was he right? He was. He was. When did they go up? On the 60 reversal. Was that the biggest move of the day in a half an hour? It was. Keep me in. There you go. Still good. Stretch holder like to have a plan. Then when they open and that plan isn't going to work, and see what is actually happening. Right. Back to the old drawing board. Like, well, that ain't going to work. Yeah, right. And some people, depending, and I don't know where Marcelo is, I wanted to talk to him, but some people who trade the gappers, if they get something on the opening, or a few, created some winning positions, and they've got some good magnitude or whatever on it, they just leave. Set their stops at even and leave. So they don't get out too early, they don't get triangled out, they don't care. Today wouldn't have worked that well because of that late rally, but depends on where you came back. But sometimes they really keep gunning when you get out too early. And if you're not here, you're not going to do anything. You got your stops in place, go play some golf, come back, cover. And also, if the plan's not working, that's why it's okay if you're on the gappers and they're not doing much. And you call the audible and say, I'm going to let Rob figure it out by strat time. By strat time, I got a pretty good idea. But if you were on the gappers, whoo boy, that was a little tricky on that 60. Get your 60 up or EDSA. How's the 30? A little tricky on that one too. But you get the triangle the out. Ooh, 15er. There you go, the 2215er right there. Because the strat's not confusing. There's just a lot going on. There's always just a lot going on, right? All the pieces parts to put together, and that's why I'm here. As I like to say, you learn to think like one of us, and then I become the world's greatest assistant. I'm doing all the research, I'm monitoring your stops, I'm finding new opportunities, I'm getting you out, I'm keeping you in. Inside, that's okay. Because 212 is either going to be a reversal or a continuation, right? It is. Or a rev, or a one bar, or a rev strat. That's all that can happen out of that. Or stay inside, but yeah. So not in front of the computer all day. So what you want to be looking for is, like what I talked about with simultaneous breaks, is you want to be looking for those on a weekly and monthly basis, right? And so in this case, like this month, things that I talk about like in every video, the rails. Have we known the rails have been in trouble for a while? We have. Union Pack, inside week and down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks straight down. If you caught that, still good. Inside month to the downside, still good. That if that worked, it triggered this, right? Did. Actually, that set that up. It was still an inside month, but here you're going to close that month out. Just close the month out, and then boom, right? And the simultaneous break comes where it's across the board. Norfolk Southern, here, also, CSX, all of them. And so you'll hear me talk about that concentration. So if you can't be there, you certainly want to have at least a weekly signal going, depending on what's going on. And so what you can do is you can set your stop limit orders or whatever on those weekly breaks if you want, and make sure, depending on how you can set it up, make sure you can get out too. Make sure you have a stop, that it sets a stop. When you do that, then when you come home, you got your positions on, and then you can move your stops thusly to make sure to make sure you don't get stopped out. And then as things play out, you can look for further reversals back in your direction. So in this case, we were looking for CSX to take these guys out. Outside weak, and you can see here's the broadening formation. Once it comes down through here, we're looking to take that out, right? And if that works, that causes this, the 2 up, 2 down month. Now we're looking to take these guys out, which it did. And then you get a market like today, sometimes they go a little bit further. Okay, I had some SPY in the 60 reversal and sold it into the close. Would it have been okay to hold since the daily weekly was a hammer? Maybe. You know, I mean, the good thing is that you had enough acreage in there, but we don't know, because the problem here is it's a Monday. Right, that's the problem, because we don't know if it's going to follow through or not. But you did have some nice acreage, if you will. And so the problem is if this just triangles they out and they come triangling back down, which we don't know. But we know the most weekly signals are still to the downside. Right, that's a bit of a problem. So another thing you could do was take some of it off. Right, so if you got it here, 430.92. and you took it up into here, you can take like half off or whatever, then your cost is way down here, right? Then if it starts running, you can add back. It starts tanking, you just take the rest of your profits. That buys you some more acreage. Some more room. 'Cause right now we don't know. They hit them pretty damn hard and they rallied them back pretty damn hard too. So we're not really sure what they want to do here. And they're blaming it on China, and China ain't even open till Wednesday, so they're closed today and tomorrow. From China, yeah, we'll see what they got to say, but their market's not open, so we'll know Wednesday morning what they really think. But like I said, putting the pieces, parts of the puzzle together. Tomorrow, how many take out the highs and how many take out the lows? That's what I want to know about. Do we have simultaneous break? Does everything go 2-2 to the upside? Does everything go 2-2 to the downside? Which is preferable. Doesn't look like that's going to happen, but you never know. It is a holiday in China. Mid-Autumn Fest or something. So closed today and tomorrow. So Wednesday's opening very interesting. We're anticipating some fiakin, but we don't know because they're having a party or something. But we know China's been taking a beating for a while. Baba. Oof. Here's your swing. Inside month to the downside. Or Rev Strat month. They're all that popped up on you. But 1, 2, 3 months down. Then you got your triangle day out. Inside week. Boom. Right back down. Thanks for playing. And especially if you can't be here on the during the day, you want to watch the weekend video because that's where I go through more of that, or the Strat Attack show on Tuesdays. That's where I go through more of those weeklies and monthlies, depending on what's going on. And Walmart or ooh puker. And so the good thing, like here, is this technically is a continuation because this was a 2 down inside, 2 down. But because this is bright green, that means you had corrective activity. That's good. So when they take this out, boom, see ya. Bye-bye. On your 3-2-2 dare, going after the 2-2 monther. There you go. Down here and said, I'm good. Thanks for playing. Thanks for playing. Stop interrupting me. Drop and give me 20 while I cover me Walmart. uh, uh, but also, as you see, especially if you're brand new, that I'm going to show you examples of this stuff all through the day. Here's this. Here's that. And a while ago, people used to be like, "Well, why are you showing me something after it already happened?" I'm like, "So you know what to look for in the future. If you see that, that's where it's going up there, and you do this, and here's all the things that are doing that. So go do that." Know what I'm saying? But I can't stress enough the simultaneous breaks, all that kind of stuff. Can't stress that enough. And that's why the scanning was in the strat time today. I can tell you what they're doing. Here, allow me to show you pull this up and show you another scanning example of what was going on. The over soldier. Okay, so let's take a look here. Under 30. The tomb of the dead unknown over soldier. What happened? He got over soldiered. Okay. So, end of the day, if you had a heat map up, look at this in here. How many things are going 30 down? A who's who of nobodies. Look at this. You ever heard of any of these guys? Nah, who's going 30 up? Apple, Palantir, AMC, Bank, Telephone, CLF, AMD, American Airlines, Pfizer, Wish, FCX, Microsoft, Citicorp, Exxon, Tilray, Cisco, MU, General Motors, Tesla's, Merck, Macy's. See the difference? You think this thing was going down, you're out of your mind. Boeing, slob, everybody. I believe it was Charles who had a bunch of scans going off the end of the day. He's like, man, my 3060 scans are exploding. I'm like, think you ought to do something? Yep. So you get the idea. That's the importance of the simultaneous break. Ain't no way you're turning this thing around. Capiche? And also repeat, don't be a wallflower. Some people go wallflower on me. Right? They're like, oh, Rob's too busy. I'm like, I'm never too busy. Can't teach you all day, but I can certainly, direct you in the right way if you're doing something wrong. But for many of you, like I said, when the vol shows up, you can see how much better this is. Which by the diff. I'm like, no, trade the reversal. You don't have a reversal, dude. You can get hammered, pounded. Trade the reversal because there's only so many ways the price can reverse. Therefore, you wait for one of those. Make a sense? And that's where I'm putting all the pieces parts for you. But do we have a simultaneous break? Are we still inside on a bunch of things? Are we, what's going on? All that stuff matters as far as probability. Making sense of folks? New folks especially? And don't be afraid when you're new. Just sit here and watch. Soak it in. When he says this, I do that. When he says this, it means that. Right? Because there's a lot of Robisms that you got to get used to, and I understand that. I understand that. Okay, good. As you can see, we get a lot done here, so every week we're out here. And then you know to wait for what? 2-2. So another thing you're going to hear me say tomorrow, maybe, on certain things? 2-2 on a Tuesday. Is that important? It is. It's a reversal on a Tuesday. That means the Monday group is screwed. And like I said, with Comvault, something like Comvault, it's a 2 down, but it already has continuity to the upside. You've already got that. So if it goes 2-2 reversal, you've already got that green continuity for the potential 3 weeker. Yeah, if you waited and bought this, 430.92, depending on how much you had, goes up to 434 in a half an hour. That's a pretty nice move. In a half an hour. Well, yes, VXY, I got that here. Boom. Triangle the out. Sold to you. Because it was a simultaneous break. It was such a heavy break. I don't know if SPY gave you anything else to get in on it, but we'll say. Might have been pretty fast. I think we're looking at fivers. Yeah, those fivers are fast. Here you go, 3 minute. So for newer folks especially, this is what you look for. I'm not telling you to trade 3 minute charts, but when you have something strong on whatever it is, this is what you're looking for. This is the triangle out here. The 2 up, 2 down, lower low on the 3. Boom. These guys, as soon as it takes that out, these guys, the magnitudes to take this out, and these guys are going to be coming outside bar. Then you could have walked it up the bottom of the 3s the whole way and then sold on the bell. Does reversals can pay? Well, both can go, but if you had the options, there's a pretty nice move in the SPY. It's more the fact that it was a simultaneous break. Everybody and his brother was breaking to the upside, as I just showed you. Cruise lines and airlines held up, yeah. There you go. Outside day for American. Problem is on the monthly, these things just doing nothing, man. Just chopping them up, but good in here. Okay, good. And another important skill too is like being able to drown out some of the things I'm talking about if it doesn't have anything to do with what you're doing. Right? And triangle the out, well, in this case, it didn't make magnitude here, and it shouldn't, because it's ripping. You've got the everything simultaneous break to the upside. No reason to believe that's gonna work. Every reason to believe it's gonna work when it takes this out. Stay on the higher time frames, yeah. This is the 3 minute triangle out. The tight stopper crews are gone. And then I'll draw it for you. because I'm good like that. There's your higher high. There's your lower low. There's your broadening formation. And we know that because these two would be an outside bar of that on a 6-minute chart. Rob, you're so stratty. Well, the good thing is, if you stay in the longer term stuff, the better you get. It's so repetitive, then once you see it, it becomes second nature. I'm like, this is how I'm getting in on this boy. Right cha. Right cha. Make sense? Because simultaneous breaks can be pretty vicious, and so this might be the only way you get in. But in this case, it was only a half an hour, so that's why we like to happen on weeklies and monthlies and stuff. Oh yeah. For those of you not with us during the pandemic, this was a 3-2 simultaneous monthly break to the downside. Full on puke fest. Full on puke fest. Did we know about it? Sure did. Sure did. Do we know about the 2 goes 3 monther? I knew about that too. So that's why we like when the vol shows up. Another 3 monther. Yeah, if you go above the tries, yep. Tight stop for the triangle expando 3-2. Not everybody's going to do that, but we're coming up on just about an hour here, so questions are slowing down, looks like. That's good. I like to keep it at an hour so people don't have to sit here for 3 hours or whatever. Oh yeah, the 200 was getting crushed. So welcome new folks. We do this every Monday, and like I said, if you can't make it, you can email the questions in. We'll get to them. And I like to think every day is a strat learning day for you. I do my best to continue to say the same things over and over and over again, which I do, which is a good thing. So I'll see y'all in the morning, and either side of these 60s and dailies are going to get my attention. So we'll see you in the morning. We'll see what they want to do. All right, that's going to do it for tonight. I'm Rob Smith at Smith of the Black with another Power Hour.